And let's continue with Dr. Stephan Romeike. He is COO at Immutable Insights, and he will kick off the segment on blockchain and identity in the industry context. A warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Thank you for the kind introduction. Happy to be here to kick off another session on industry application of blockchain after we've heard a lot about more like the financial aspects in the last couple of days. I'm happy to kick off another session more from the industry field. So those of you who have heard of Immutable Insight probably know us rather from our financial products. However, like everything we do is based on blockchain data analytics. So this is kind of our core strength. And based on that, we have like three business areas. The one is financial products, as I said already. And the other ones are anti-money laundering and the whole topic of industrial analytics. So blockchain data analytics applied to, industry companies. And the second part is that one that I want to talk about today a bit further and in detail. So, I guess that became clear in the last couple of days. The road in the financial area and the financial application of blockchain is relatively clear forward, right? So we started somehow with Bitcoin and then with Ethereum, like enabling smart contracts and dApps. And based on that, we came further and further into some regulated areas, being the digital securities or CBDCs. And I guess in a few minutes, Philip is going to talk about regulated DeFi. So the trend that is like becoming clearer here is that we're gonna change towards a decentralized world, ending somehow up in DAOs 2.0, so kind of DAOs that kind of comply to regulation, be it that the DAOs stick to the regulation or that regulation kind of adjusts towards these blockchain applications. On the industrial side, however, the trend isn't too clear, at least to my understanding, and therefore I will show you today three examples of what we at Immutable Insight are dealing with. The one is end-to-end tokenization of real estate. The second topic is insurance for blockchain products, and the last one, further into the direction of AML, is anti-money laundering services. So we're going to start further at the end of the road, end-to-end tokenized real estate. So because when you look at tokenized real estate, and I think we had also some examples here at the conference, what tokenized real estate mostly referred to is the idea of making real estate investable, so the whole idea of asset investments for tokenized real estate. That is nice. There are a lot of examples out there, and there's also a study conducted here at the Frankfurt School that analyzes all these service providers that offer these kinds of services. However, we at Immutable Insight like to, when we do like consulting projects, we gonna advise that you are that is a good idea to use like the full potential of blockchain. So you can compare it to like a highway. It's cool when you have like 100 meters of highway, but the full potential of that is only there if you use like, or if you build 100 kilometers of highway, or even better, a full highway network, right? So what we did is we thought this real estate process through and thought about, okay, how would a tokenized real estate process end-to-end look like? Yeah, so the idea is, or how this could look like, is that you start with the plot, so the building ground, where you use an NFT as a, well, we call it a smart or intelligent data, a data room, right? And you put everything in there that is connected to the site, to the plot. So the geodata, the dimensions, who is the owner, are there some preemptive rights, what are the development plans of the city, and so forth and so on. So you have all this data on chain, and the project developer does not need to look into his Excel tables and the folders where are the data. No, you have it everything centrally stored, and even after 20, 30 years, you still know where this data is. In the next phase, then project development, everything that you do or the project developers do is also planned and executed online or on-chain, or at least digitally, so that same procedure, everyone can access the data and the progress that is made there. And this is also relevant to the topics that we discussed earlier today, namely sustainability and green certificates and sustainability, where these, like, if you keep in mind the digital product pass, where everything that you buy, build, and include in this building is stored somehow digitally, and you have like an easy basis to calculate like the CO2 emission, green certificates, and so forth and so on. So now the building is constructed and the tenants are moving in, be it private or commercial. And then you can, of course, also have like smart contracts that are used for rents, payments, and especially also utility payments. Because if you think about the utility payment process today, yeah, you regularly pay, I don't know, 80 euros to your utility service provider every month in advance. And in the end of the year, you have either to repay 200 or you get maybe 200 back because this prepayment never matches what you actually consume. And like an hour ago or two, there were the colleagues of Riddle and Code introducing their, how was it called, trusted gateway, right? Which would be like a perfect thing that you just put it next to your smart meter, and the data is directly kind of fed onto a smart protocol, enabling the automated billing for all these services, right? And then you have all the data that is out there on-chain available in one single place, and you can use data analytics to do profitability calculation, to like plan your renovation, somehow to the direction of predictive renovation, if you would call it like this. Or also alternative use cases. When you say, yeah, well, commercial building is not that relevant in that space, we should make some nice lofts out of this building. Well, you could also do this then. And at the very end, after 40, 50, 60 years, you still have all the data available centrally at one space. And you can enter into a circular economy where you can think about, okay, how can I reuse the materials? How can I recycle them? Or in the end, how can I properly dispose of them? Of course, this requires a lot of like rethinking, a change in mindset, be it from the business logic, be it from the vertical or horizontal integration of supply chains, and the most important probably, how this is applicable or how this is doable in the current legal framework, right? But in the end, I think such a process has some values, and at least some parts of them are already in the doing or will come up relatively in the relatively short future. Second topic would be insurance for blockchain products. So 2 weeks ago, there was an article in Handelsblatt stating cyber risks are hardly insurable for companies due to incalculable risk. When I thought, great that we have blockchain now, because for insurances, the like baseline normally consists of two things: A, frequency, how often does an event occur, and B, magnitude. So in case the event occurs, what are the or what is followed by that? What is the damage that is created? And we have I brought two examples of how we provide data to make insurance easier calculable, to stick to the article. The first thing is that we did a project in November last year where we did where we tracked fraudulent transactions that occurred in the Ethereum network and that were somehow related to phishing, right? So someone like stole your password and got some or hacked some funds out of your wallets. So in the time series of January to mid of November, there were roughly 820 million Ethereum transactions in the network. Of those were roughly 230,000 phishing related. And now, if you're an insurance company, you would look at the exchanges where we did the matching and see, for example, whether there are exchanges that have a relatively low number of transactions that are phishing related, and there are others that are relatively high. And as an insurance company, your consequence will probably be to offer like cheaper prices because of lower risk to like exchanges that are not as affected by these wallets, and more expensive insurances or prices to those that are affected by more of these phishing transactions. Example number 2 is in the field of slashing. So slashing, for those of you who don't know that, is in staking protocols in the end a mechanism to punish validators that do not follow the rules of the protocol. Yeah? And what we did was an analysis of the question, when does slashing actually occur? And what you can see in this graph is that slashing mainly occurs relatively shortly after the activation of a validator. Yeah? What would be the consequence for an insurance company? At the beginning, you would have relatively high prices for your clients because you want to cover their risk and also your own risk in the end. However, after a couple of months, years, whatsoever, this would change. You would like reduce prices significantly because the risk that you get slashed is relatively low because the clients learned a lot about how slashing and staking works. However, you want to retain the customer as an insurance company, and therefore you offer probably lower prices. The last topic is in the field of anti-money laundering, and we're coming to the sad reality of today, namely that Russia is, since end of February, the most sanctioned country in the world. And this has some significant challenges for states and companies, and there's still the question, and this was also discussed here, at least in the foyer, is crypto used for sanctions evasion? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. There is no proper evidence right now. However, it is basically possible, and therefore this is a risk for companies, for banks, for institutions. And to mitigate this risk, we at Immutable Insight developed a sanction rapid test. You can access this one at sanctiontest.com, and we also have a voucher for those of you attending here. It's you can use sanctiontest19 as a coupon code to get like a discounted price on this test if you will want to use this. But in the end, it's like the name says, it's a sanction rapid test. It's similar to the Corona rapid test. It does not give you like a proper full indication of if there's something going wrong, but it gives you a relatively nice first indication. And this is, I think, in the current situation, this what is most important. So the question is now, why and how is this relevant for you? And we identified several possibilities how such sanction evasion could affect you as a bank or as another organization. So either funds can be routed from a sanctioned crypto exchange via an unsanctioned crypto exchange before paying out to a bank, or it can be simply the case that a straw man is used to take crypto funds and transfer to a Western bank, or in case you're an organization, that you pay a supplier or another company that is even redirecting funds to a sanctioned entity, or that is somehow associated with a sanctioned company. However, this is not clear to the public. So the whole idea of the sanction test is, in the end, a risk assessment, because a violation of sanction regulations affects all companies, and it's not only like a reputational risk or a financial risk, but it's also a personal risk of the management at the end of the day. And therefore, we, as I said, set up the sanction rapid test. How does it work? In the end, you go to sanctiontest.com, enter the amount, the date, and the time. When your fiat transaction kind of happened, and the test automatically checks back if there's a corresponding transaction in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in Tether, or in US dollar coin in the last 24 hours. And well, you get feedback immediately via email, so this is fully automated. You get either a red flag when there is a sanction, there is a transaction plus minus 1% your amount, which is either coming from a Russian-based exchange or from an OFAC-listed wallet. You get a yellow flag when there's a medium likelihood of sanction evasion because there was funds were sent to mixing services, which is per se not illegal. However, it might have you might want to further investigate into that. And in the end, you get a green light when nothing of the other two applies. So is this now, or is this working? Like, how safe is this? Well, from a technical perspective, it is working. However, with a lot of, well, illegal creativity, of course, you have the possibility to kind of evade sanction, for example, by splitting a transaction of 100K into two transactions of 50K. Then, of course, this test doesn't work. As I said, it's rather a Corona rapid test, a sanction rapid test that gives you a first indication, but in the end, that's all you want to have, right? So in case you run into trouble with sanctions and you ask, hey, what did you do to mitigate these risks? You can say with this kind of test, well, I did not do it like a full investigation, but I did at least do something to understand my risk in the space. So that's actually already it from my side. We are here at Crypto Asset Conference with a lot of colleagues, and we also have a booth outside. So if you want to learn more about our analytics capabilities, our sanction rapid test, feel free to approach us. And I guess we also have some seconds left for questions. Thank you very much.